2024, A Quiet Place, Day 1. After the show ended, I wanted a slice of pizza so bad. Let me tell you all about this movie. I like it, but I don't love it. This is a prequel, and inherently it has some built-in problems that can be difficult to overcome. Part of the problem with a prequel is that you already know what happens in the future, and we already had 2 previous movies in this world that have explored these creatures fairly decent, and we know what happens. We know you can't talk, you know that if you make noise, you're probably going to die, so there's not much point to this movie. If you like this world, then I think you're gonna enjoy it, but the scares aren't that big anymore. For some reason, you see more of these creatures compared to previous movies. Maybe they did this to excite the audience more? I think it has the opposite effect. Part of the fear is not seeing the creatures like in 1979 Aliens. At this point, us, the audience, know exactly what they do. They're going to show up and it's munchie time. So yeah, I think it's definitely a little bit underwhelming out of the 3. I'm just not big on prequels, and I'm not sure why they make prequels. Please move the story forward. I don't mind remakes or new takes on classic movies for a newer generation. As I get older, I tend to dislike stories that go back more and more. It would have been a lot more interesting to know where these creatures come from, why they arrived on Earth, how we as humans start solving these problems, how society starts to reconstruct and rebuild, how humanity evolves past this new threat. How does that affect the evolution of the human species, or do we just die in oblivion? Some of the stuff might be addressed on the second movie. I don't quite remember, it's been a minute. Lupita Nyong'o did a phenomenal job. I love her. She's really good. Extreme talent. Something I like about this movie was the portrayal of these 2 characters. One is at the end of the road in life, they're in hospice. The second character, I don't know much about them because they have a thick accent and it can be a little bit of a problem. I think they come from England and they said something about studying to be a lawyer, but I'm not sure if it's current or in the past. This character just kind of pops up out of nowhere and they kind of explain a little something, but it's all whispers and there's background noise because there is rain and the accent is as thick as the Atlantic Ocean. It was kind of hard to understand what they were saying. So I don't really know what the backstory is, and I don't really think this character is entirely necessary to the story. But I do like the portrayal of this same character that has some severe type of PTSD or anxiety disorder struggle related with the creatures. Of course, there's a character development arc. I think it's a beautiful movie in regards to overcoming adversity, personal journey, how everybody has their own battles, how everybody has their own struggles, the aspect of adding a disability or adding emotional obstacle I really liked a lot. The relationship is platonic, but also like a little romance because the characters get to know each other. At the beginning, one character doesn't like the other, but towards the end, they do something really selfless so that the other one can escape into safety. And I just thought that was beautiful and wonderful. An alternative title could have been A Quiet Place, Day 1, Meow. There is a cat in this movie that is crazy because it's always roaming around, always appears to find its way back. He's always kind of leading them somewhere, never dies, is never in any real danger. That character is the equivalent of the cameraman. A cameraman never dies. Establishing the rules to this world, we already kind of know how it works, but it seems like certain noises attract these creatures more than others, and particularly if it's convenient for something to happen to move the story forward will determine how much the noise affects these creatures. There are some scenes that they need a character to die to move the story along. It's little things like that that take this movie from having good potential to just being okay and a little forgettable and underwhelming as well. If this movie was something else, like a standalone movie with no connection to the Quiet Place universe, maybe like an independent film, I think it would be pretty good, but unfortunately nobody would go watch it. So there's that. There are some actors that are barely used. I would have loved to see more of them. Seems like there was a lot of anticipation. Usually opening night at my local theaters aren't that full. It was packed last night. I got one of the last remaining seats. At the end of the day, if you like the world of A Quiet Place, I think you will like this movie. If you don't, just catch it at home when it hits streaming. Film is subjective. It hits us all in different ways. What did you think? Remember folks, you owe it yourself to watch great cinema.